Hey there, today I am conversation with Dr. Emily Letran. She is international keynote speaker, high performance business coach, and she is an author herself as well. Please help me welcome Dr. Emily Letran. Welcome, Dr. Emily.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an absolute honor to be here, sharing some stories and strategies on how to be successful as entrepreneurs.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who are you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, my stories actually came from Vietnam back in 1981, from Vietnam to the United States, and I came as one of those refugee boat people. And I overcame a lot of challenges from learning English to learning the culture and trying to understand how to really survive in the new country. So it's always been a journey of overcoming challenges, of learning new things. And so I carried that with me throughout my school. I finished my dental school at UCLA, and working as an entrepreneur, I see myself trying to learn more because, as you know, uh, education can only teach us so much, right? The rest of it, we got to learn from being practical, being in the real world, doing all the work ourselves. And so, in that journey, about 5, 6 years ago, I had that realization that, um, it's a calling that from what I've known, from what I've invested to learn, and how I become successful as an entrepreneur, that I should be sharing my knowledge. And so I got certified as a high performance coach. I've been learning how to do marketing under one of those many of the top marketers in the world. And I decided that I need to create my own thing to help other people being successful and really help them fast track the journey to success. So that's how I get started. That was 5 years ago.
What are your top three mistakes to avoid?
Well, there are a lot of mistakes that you can make along the journey. I think the top three, I would say the very first one that people tend to have is not to have is to not have enough clarity, right? And what that means is we're not sure where we're going. We're not sure what we want. We're not sure what the end goals are. A lot of people will tell you, yes, I want a business that make $1 million. And then when you ask them why a million, why not 5 million, why not 10 million, they don't have an answer because they were never really clear why did it need to be $1 million in the first place, right? So to have not having clarity, some people call it vision, goals. For me, it's clarity is everything about your life. What should you get married? Should you have kids? All of those things. That's part of clarity. That's the first one. The second one is not leveraging other people's other resources, trying to do everything yourself. Uh, in this day and age, there's so many things going on, and a lot of us feel overwhelmed because we feel like we have to do all of those. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you say, I need my business on social media. And then you say, well, there's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, all of these things. And you feel that to be on social media, you got to be on all of them. You got to be putting things out every day. Well, not exactly. What you need to be is you need to pick one that's where your customers or your prospect clients are, and that's the one you focus on because you need to be where they are, right? So if you do that, then all of a sudden things don't seem so overwhelmed, and you know exactly what to focus on. And then the third mistake is not to take care of yourself. You hear people talking about burnout. You hear people talking about wanting to quit. A lot of my friends in the dental field would complain about back pain, and I don't know what are the back pain, neck pain. It's because you don't take care of yourself. You're not watching your posture when you're working. So for me, the top those top three mistakes. not having clarity, not leveraging other people and resources, and not taking care of yourself, that could really get you overwhelmed, get you frustrated, get you want to quit, um, and not being able to enjoy the journey.
What are your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Well, one of my greatest failure story is trusting people too much. And what I mean by that is you have to develop a team who work with you. And obviously, you have to trust them. And the challenge that I had and the mistake that I made was to trust them explicitly, right? To trust them where I didn't really keep them accountable or checking on them. And I'm talking specifically about my office managers for my dental practices. So when you have a dental practice that is seven figure, you tend to delegate a lot of things. You just want to manage it, and then on the day that I do clinical, I'm going to show up and do the clinical work. And so because of that, I guess exclusive trust, you can call it. At one point, I found myself dealing with um, legal issue. Let's just put it that way. And it was created by my team members, my team leaders, and I came to realize that yes, you can develop system, you can train people, you can trust them with whatever it is that you want to trust them with, but ultimately you're the CEO. You need to keep them accountable. It doesn't matter if they've been working with you for 10 years, 13 years. Before they come to work with you, they have another 10 years with somebody else. You still have to be able to manage that and keep them accountable. And so that was the greatest failure. I think it changed me as a person because I become a little bit more I don't trust people as much, put it that way. Uh, and it's because ultimately you have to take care of yourself, your business, and that's where that trust come in.
What are your top three success secrets that others can follow?
Well, there's a lot of ways to get to success, and I think the top three that I would recommend go very closely with the top three mistakes, right? That you could make. So I think in order to be successful, the first one is you need to know what is success for you, and you need to focus on only the activities that get you to that success. So I'll give you an example. Success for me, part of success for me is having peace of mind, right? Having peace of mind meaning, I have enough to put to protect and support my family. I have enough time for myself so I can enjoy life, right? I have created impact because some of us have that desire sometimes, like a burning desire to do more. So I have ways to create that impact. And if I understand all of those things that are the things that I want, and I know there are three or four things that I should do to help me get to that goal, I would only focus on those three or four things. So if you come along, uh, Mohammed, and say, "Hey, Dr. Emily, we have this project. Why don't you join us and do this project?" And if that project isn't aligned with my goal, it's very easy for me to say no because it's just not in alignment, right? So it's easy for me to say no, and not get distracted. Even though some people are very proud that they're so busy, they got so many things going on. I think you should be proud of being very productive in very few things and actually getting to your goal. So that's that's one of the top one. The secret to success is is to have the clarity to know exactly what you want and only focus on what you want. Um, the second thing is, I think it's the commitment to learning. When people think that I already know everything, I think that's when problem starts, because it's not possible that you can know everything. So to invest in learning more, whether you have a coach, a consultant, you're reading books, you're watching videos, you're watching online courses, you continue to learn, meaning that you're always stepping up in your game. And if your work has anything to do with, let's just say, technology, you know that field is always evolving. So continuous learning is one of those things that help you get to the top faster, rather than trying to figure things out yourself. And sometimes people who try to figure things out themselves, there's an element of ego. You know what? I know I can do this. I can figure this out. Well, just much faster to go watch a video, schedule a call with your coach and ask the question, the coach give you an answer, right? And it's just much easier. But some people think that they need to figure it out themselves because they need to fulfill their ego. And the third thing to be successful, I think, is to be grateful. When you're grateful, you just act differently. You just live your life differently. And I think you're going to attract people into your life once you let them know that this is the kind of person you are. So I think being grateful is a very important part of being successful. I'm sure you've known of people who they're very successful, but they're not well liked, right? They don't do anything for the community. Maybe they don't even do anything for their family. And then people that maybe they're not rich or famous, but they are successful in their own right because they live a happy life. They have great health, and they have the community and the support around them. So I I would say make sure you're clear in what you want to do. Make sure you invest in learning and always getting yourself better. And thirdly, live a life of gratitude.
What is the most impactful business book you read, and what did you learn from it?
Well, I've read a lot of books over the years. One of the most famous book and very important book I read is called Think and Grow Rich, and it was written by Napoleon Hill. And it talks about the different success principles, and I've already mentioned some of them, on how to keep focus, how to have the courage to follow your dream, how to have people supporting you, the concept of a mastermind. And I followed so much, I actually start learning with my mentor, who is now a representative of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And I have the privilege of getting one of those rare copies of the book, right? So, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, one of those rare copy with the golden words, or whatever you whatever you call it. Um, and you know, you can have a book and you can read it, and it may or may not make any difference in your life. Maybe you just enjoy reading it. What I love to ask people to do and challenge people is, you read a great book like that, maybe write down one or two things, and say, you know what, I'm going to do this one thing in the next 30 days. I'm going to do that in the next 30 days. I know Bob Proctor says that he read that book every year, right? But every day he would read a couple of pages of it. And then every year he would sit down and read the thing from cover to cover. So why is that? I mean, Bob Proctor is one of those personal development person, top personal development person. Why is he reading the book? Well, because the book has a lot of golden nuggets in there. The book has a lot of great stories in there of all the people who are successful that we all know about, but we didn't know the challenge behind them. And so the book gives you that insight. And when you read it, you say to yourself, maybe I've been doing a little bit of this, but I should do more, right? Because nothing in that book is about something that we cannot do. All of us cannot do. And so I highly recommend everybody to read the book. I made all my kids read the book. I went back to Vietnam a couple years ago, to visit my friends, and we all have kids about the same age. So when I went back there, I think everybody was, our oldest were maybe 17. And instead of bringing gift, I went back there. I went to a bookstore in Vietnam. I bought each one of those kids Think and Grow Rich in Vietnamese, and I gave it to them. And they were all looking at me like, you came from the US and this is what you gave us? And I said, absolutely. If you read this book, it's going to change your life. It's going to make you a successful person, even as a young person. So, yeah, so I'm very proud of that story, buying the books in Vietnamese and giving it to my friends' kids.
Dr. Emily, I know you're author yourself, and please show us your book and why people should read your book.
Yeah, so um, positioning is a very important thing as an entrepreneur. We all have businesses. We sometimes look like each other, right? So if I have a dental office, my dental office may look like the other doctor across town. If you're a coach, you may look like another coach. So writing a book and being an author is one of the fastest way to position yourself as a leader. And you can write different kinds of books on different topics. In other words, sometimes when people think about writing book, they said, "Oh, I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be about my life, and it's going to take me I don't know how long to talk about my life and to teach and things like that." Well, pick a topic or pick a particular aspect of your life, of your business, and write about that. Because number one, it's faster. Number two, you can get it out, you can immediately use it, and then at some point you can write your life story book. So I'm going to show a couple of examples for my dentist friends, right? Because I coach a lot of clients in the healthcare business. This book is called No Nonsense Dentistry for Dental Peeps. So what does this mean? These are hacks, strategies, shortcuts, funny, sarcastic stories that a dentist can read and quickly learn how to do the business. This one I just recently launched is called Doctor to Doctor: Success Strategies to Elevate Your Life and Business. This is a compilation of like 17 doctors altogether, and it's doctor, dentist, chiropractor, optometrist, pharmacist, and we came together to write this book, and we sharing strategies for success. So when you're part of something like this, now you're leveraging each other, right? Because each person have their own followers, each person may have their own niche, and now you're part of that big group who are leaders, and so you can immediately elevate your status when you're involved in a project like that. And people can certainly reach out to me and ask me about these kind of projects. This is a book that I completed during the pandemic. It's called The Modern Woman to Have It All Without Sacrifice. And this book talks about being a woman entrepreneur, because as you know, men and women, we may have the same challenges, but we look at them differently. And with the women, what we do is we set our own expectations based on what we think society wants us to do, and then we try to live up to it, and then we get frustrated when we didn't quite live up to it. And that this particular book brings back the different views, whether you have to be a perfect daughter, whether you have to be the best mom, whether you have to be that sexy wife, whether you have to be that ultimate boss. Who say you have to be all those things? And why do you have to be all those things? And why are you putting yourself in that position where you try to be all those things? And so I had a lot of fun writing that book, sharing my viewpoint. And then the co-author is actually a male dentist, and he was writing it from a viewpoint of of a guy, right? Maybe from a husband standpoint, from a colleague standpoint, from a boss standpoint. So writing a book will immediately elevate your status. It will immediately position you as a leader. And so I encourage everybody to write books, and you can certainly look up those books. They're all on Amazon.
Wonderful. Uh, Dr. Emily, we're entering into a speed round. That means we quick questions and quick answers. And are you ready for it?
Sure.
What, what do you want to be remembered for?
Impact, making a difference, changing industry.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
How do I what?
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
It's always the very first step is to get clarity. Is it a challenge that I'm the only one that have to solve, or can I get other people to help me? Is it a real challenge? Maybe it's growing pain. So making sure that it is a true challenge, and making sure that I get the people behind me to help me.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
Well, I think sometimes you don't have to convince your significant other. Uh, if it's important to you, you can just go after it yourself. You can explain to your significant other, this is why this is important to me. You may be able to enlist other people to help you and not your significant other. And I would say, from a high performance standpoint, being able to do multiple things, whether it's an additional income revenue generating project, or a philanthropy project, make sure that you can do it without interrupting your life and taking you away from the family. And if you can do that, I think your significant other will be okay.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
When I grow up, I want to build schools. Education is always an important part in my life. Both of my parents were teachers, and I came from a third world country. So I know that in some of the third world countries, we don't even have good schools. And I'm talking about, elementary school, middle school, that kind of thing. Um, I want to go and build schools.
What are you grateful for today?
Well, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on here and chatting with you. Right before this interview, I was on another call with two other doctors. We are we launching a program teaching doctors in healthcare how to do business, and we were talking about the platform we're going to use to teach the online courses. And I'm grateful because in this land of opportunity, I'm able to be part of that despite the humble beginning of coming here as a refugee.
Who is your living mentor and what is the impact they have on you?
Well, my living mentor is Sharon Lecter. She co-wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. She's written, I think, I don't know, 27, 28 books. And her most recent book is called Exit Rich, talking about how to look at your business, how to evaluate your business, how to sell your business. And I think it's a Wall Street journal best selling. The book is endorsed by Steve Forbes. She is the prime example of always about creating impact and using your words, right? Using your books and your presentation, your talk to really touch lives. And I learned a lot of that from her because sometimes we have to, we have to step up, put ourselves out there, and put that message out there because the right people will hear the message at the right time.
Why is being impactful important to you?
We live in a global community. So a lot of the things we do, it doesn't have to be limited to, you know, our particular business. So, for example, my dental office is in one location, but we do free dentistry day annually, and people could be coming from, 1 or 2 hours drive to come and receive the free dental care. So, I encourage people to think impact, meaning what more can I do? How much more can I touch people's lives with the exact same thing that I'm doing right now? So you could be doing the exact same thing, but if you have that courage and the desire to put it out there, let people know about what you do, you may be attracting people to come to you from all over the world. So impact is very important, And impact is more easily done today, given the internet and our global connections.
How do you start your day?
Well, I start my day, waking up. I actually go to bed after I pray. So when I start my day, it's always thinking about what I'm grateful for today, and then go drink water, go drink some coffee, and do a little bit of stretch exercise. So it's all about setting the intention, being grateful, right, for the day, and then making sure that I take care of myself so I can be fully productive for the day.
How can we support you?
Yes, we talk about impact. So for me, the more people I can be in front of, the more people I can help, the more impact the more impactful I can be. So thank you for the opportunity to be on here. The listener, the followers, they can text the word action 2021 to 26786. And what they're going to get is a link to do a high performance assessment. And when they take that assessment, they're going to find out, okay, am I considered a high performer, or maybe not quite there? And it's not about money. It's not about how many things you've done, how many things you have. It really is a full look at what a high performer is. I would love for you to take that quiz, that assessment, and find out about yourself. And if you need to have a conversation, you can always reach out and schedule an appointment with me. And they can go to my website, dremilyletran.com. We talk about different projects that are on there. I'm going to launch a TV show pretty soon in August. There are online courses on there. There are consultation. There are videos on there that you can watch. You can also follow me on YouTube with Coach Emily Letran. And I would love to be a part of your life to help you change your mindset, to help you take action and create more impact in the world.
What would you say as a final word?
Well, my final word would be action. Take action. Do something. If what I said today, one or two things resonate with you, write a book. Get more clear about what you want. Don't try to set expectations based on what you think the society is expecting you to do. Any of those things among the different things that I share, if it resonates with you, write it down and go take action and change things for you. So the important thing is to take action.
Thank you, Dr. Emily, for your time and wisdom. And on the behalf of Entrepreneur Empowerment Club, we really appreciate you. I hope our path cross again with another amazing guest. Until then, you have a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, and everybody have a great weekend. Go crush it today.